Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Sean from youtube.com/SendPete and TechDread@webs.com. And today, I just want to share with you guys a quick video about the iPhone 7 and whether or not you guys should get it in 29. This is late 2019, even into early 2020. I'll probably end up doing a video for 2020, but right now this is late 2019. So a lot of you guys, it's coming up upon the holiday season, and I know a lot of you guys are looking for presents and gifts to give to each other, and the iPhone is probably one of the top items. It's definitely going to be something that you would use every day, as well as it's going to pair with all those accessories that you might be looking to get, whether it's AirPods, whether it's an Apple Watch, which are two of the hottest items of this 2019 holiday season. So the iPhone is going to be what you guys are going to use to get everything going, pretty much. And some people might be rocking older iPhones. Pretty much every other iPhone other than the 6S, older than the 6S, is older than this phone. So this pretty much goes for any of those phones that you might have. And some people are still rocking them. Some people are still rocking a 6 or a 6S. So this is more targeted towards those people. To start things off, the iPhone 7 was released in 2016 alongside the first generation AirPods, so that kind of gives you a little bit of background as far as the time on it. And it really is a good device, I would say. One nice thing about it being such a aged device is that you can find really great prices if you look on the used market. For example, you might be able to find a 32 gig iPhone 7 for $150, $180. You might be able to find a 128 for $200 or sub $200 price points. So at that price, that's less than a pair of AirPods, less than the cost of less than the pair of AirPod Pros, or less than the cost of a brand new Apple Watch. So it really gives you something to think about, especially if you are rocking an older device. One thing too with the newest version of the Apple Watch, the Series 5, is that it requires an iPhone 6S or newer. So if you are rocking anything older than that, or even I'm not sure about the SE, but possibly the SE, this also might be a cause for upgrade. So it's a really low price point, really good barrier, entry into the iPhone, or upgrade to an iPhone. And the nice thing about this phone is that I feel like it gives you all the latest and greatest features without that high price point. You can still buy the iPhone 8 brand new, 64 gig from Apple at $450. But like I said, you can get something like this with twice the memory, maybe 128 gigabytes, for half that price at $200 or $250. So that definitely is something to consider. Comparing this to some of the newer iPhones, especially like the iPhone 8, you're really only losing that wireless charging, slightly upgraded processor in the A12 Bionic versus the A11. The A11 versus the A10, which is what you're getting in here. A11 is in the iPhone 8. And then the iPhone 8 also is, a little bit different as far as the design. It's that all glass design for the wireless charging. But other than those two main things, they're very similar devices. So, getting one essentially half off or half the cost is a really good deal in my opinion. Real quick, I'll go over some of the hardware here for the iPhone 7. 4.7 inch screen, so kind of comparing that to an older device, the iPhone 5S, which you can see here has a 4-inch display. Turn both of them on so you can see the difference in kind of how that display looks. You can see quite a bit bigger. 4.7 inch display, the same PPI, 326 PPI that you would get on the newer iPhones, such as the iPhone 11, even the 10R, or even the 11. Yeah, so same PPI, same good resolution. You're losing a few of the display quality, few of the small display quality things that you're going to get in a newer iPhone. But one thing it actually does keep that you won't get in a newer iPhone is 3D Touch, which gives you those capacitive options as far as selecting different sub menus and whatnot. 4.7 inch screen, 7 megapixel camera on the front, which is great. That's pretty much the same camera that they're using in the front facing cameras for most of these newer iPhones. On the back is a 12 megapixel sensor, same megapixel resolution that you're going to get in the newer iPhones. In addition to that, you get that True Tone flash, You're getting a very compact build, very small, very thin, especially compared to some of the newer iPhones. In addition to that, you are losing that headphone jack. That's something that you're going to lose if you're coming from a 6 or a 6S. But that being said, most of the people nowadays are just using wireless headphones, so you wouldn't really have to worry about that if you're doing that. Worst case scenario, Apple always sells that Lightning to Lightning and 3.5mm adapter that you can use. But yeah, other than that, you're getting a very clean design, Touch ID, with the capacitive home button. So it's a really good piece of hardware. If you're coming from a 6S, you're getting a much improved processor, probably a better battery as well, especially based on the age and the battery health of your older iPhone. And especially if you're coming from a 6. You are losing that home button, like I said, but then you're also getting a better camera, and just overall a better experience, and this also can receive the latest iOS. Right now I think I'm running for 13.2, whereas you can get 13.3 is available on here. That might even be what, actually no, that's not what this is saying, but it was giving me some notifications about it earlier. And if you did want to run 13.3, if you wanted to run iOS 13 on iPhone 6, you can. So you're still going to get those latest updates. Another key feature that I like about the newer iPhone is the fact that it has the same processor that's inside the regular iPad, which is that A10. So the regular iPad, even though it is the budget model, it's $329 regular priced. However, it's been on sale this holiday season for as low as $250. It shows, essentially it only has 1 extra gig of RAM, which for a bigger screen, I feel like you need that extra gig of RAM, bigger high resolution screen, that the updates can still be had. So by getting this phone, I predict at least that you're gonna get good upgradability in the iPhone. Whereas if you were to get something that's older, that has an older processor, it's probably not going to be able to get updates like the 6 and the older phones can. The fact that they just released that iPad this year with the same essentially internals or at least processor that this device has, I would highly doubt that Apple would cut updates to it, only after a year or so. So I believe you'll still be able to get iOS updates for the next 2, maybe 3 years. And that's what I would generally say how long this phone will probably last you. Maybe 2 to 4 years or so. Which at this price point, if you divide that up, that's $35 a year, $70 a year. If you buy a new phone, you're paying more than that per month just to finance that on your plan. So I would say that's a really, really good value. A lot of people are still rocking this phone. Compared to the iPhone 8, it looks very similar, functions very similar. So I would say even if you're talking about from a commonality standpoint with a lot of people having the device, people probably wouldn't even notice that it's an iPhone 7 versus an iPhone 8. So I really think that this iPhone 7 is a great deal that you can get for a very good price. Let me open it for you guys and kind of put it on the main screen there. You can get it for a really great price. IP67 water resistancy as well, so that way if you get splashes on it and whatnot, you wouldn't have to worry about that. So in a way, I feel like this is actually a little bit better prepared than something like a iPhone 8, even though it does have the water resistance as well. It has that glass back, whereas this is that Series 7000 aluminum on the back. So if something does happen where you do drop the phone, especially if you don't have a case on, I feel like the back at least would last much better than the iPhone 8. Overall, the phone, probably would be able to sustain a fall a bit better than the 8 with all that glass, and definitely the newer phones, the 11, the 10, 10S and whatnot. So yeah, other than that, that's pretty much a good overview of it. As you guys can see, everything's moving fast. Like I said, iOS 13 is on this guy, so it's rocking really well. No complaints here, and I really would say that this is a phone that definitely would recommend taking a look at. The biggest thing, like I would say, is if you were thinking about purchasing this, just check on the battery health. That is something that a lot of iPhones can kind of struggle with that are older. You ideally would probably want an iPhone with either 80% or more, and that's actually what Apple recommends as far as their replacement service. So let's say if you did have Apple Care and you wanted to get your battery replaced, it would have to be at 80% or higher. 80% or lower to get that battery replaced. So as long as it has 80% battery, you should be fine. If you start seeing something with 70, 60%, or less, then I'd be kind of leery of getting that phone just because that battery's probably not going to hold up long for you, and you're going to need to get that replaced. Which on this unit I think is about $60 or so to get that changed out. So I mean that can essentially negate the savings that you get by getting this over an 8 or getting this over a newer phone like an 11. So anyways, this is my full kind of 2019 take on it. To kind of conclude, I would say that this is a great value of iPhone to look at, especially if you're looking at getting a new iPhone or upgrading from the older one. And you don't really do that much on the phone. You use it like a normal phone, but you're not a power user. If you're a little bit more power, and more intense, then I would say look at maybe a 10R, a 10R, or even a 11. As far as those devices. But if you really obviously want the latest and greatest, the pros are going to be what that represents currently. The 11 Pro and the 11 Pro Max. That being said, this is a great budget iPhone. Would still recommend here until late 2019. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. And I look forward to talking to you guys in a later video. You guys have a nice day. And this is me, Sean from TechJodos.com, signing out.